Hello.
Hi, so glad you joined me today. Thank you for that.
Sure, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so we just want to kind of chat about Magic Ears today. And Leah left Magic Ears a while back, and I am going to be leaving them by the time you all see this video. I will be gone. But we kind of just wanted to get the truth out there, respectfully, but of our perspectives of Magic Ears. So, why did you initially apply to Magic Ears?
Um, I had been with VIP Kid for over a year. I loved what I was doing. Teaching online was all I was doing at the time. I've since moved on to other things as well, but that was my main gig. And I wanted the opportunity to do more with that job. I wanted to be able to do mentoring.
Like secondary positions.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that definitely allured me in. And, that people seemed really happy with the company. The
Yeah.
pay was pretty good. So I applied just thinking, the opportunities for secondary positions, they really advertised that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, okay, I'll see what happens. And yeah, that's why I applied.
That's me too. Exactly why. Okay. How long were you there for?
Oh, I don't think I finished my first contract, so
Okay.
I think it
Not
might have
too
been
long.
I think it might have been 4 months. I think I was there for 4 or 5 months.
Okay. Did you find the secondary positions to be true to their word? Like, did you end up getting a secondary? How did that go?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was really lucky. I think I ranked up to senior before I hit 30 classes,
Oh, wow.
and they actually offered me a supervisory, or not a supervisory position. Maybe it was the supervisory position. Yeah, they offered me a supervisory position before I hit senior, and they said as soon as you hit 30 classes or whatever it was at the time, they said we'll let you go ahead and start doing the training job and or the supervisory job. And
Hmm.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
yeah, pretty quickly.
Sounds similar to me. I mean, it wasn't that fast, but I was senior before I was at 100, and when I
Yeah.
was there, it was supposed to be 100.
Yeah.
So same thing. I got positions right away. Um, were your positions reliable?
I for the supervisory position, that was actually a lot of work.
Hmm.
The pay wasn't great for the amount of time we put into it. I probably made we were paid per class, and it was not a lot considering how much work we had to do. But we got a lot of work, and I was able to do it during the day with my children home, who you can probably hear in the background. I've got these great noise canceling headphones, so I can't hear him, but I know he's talking, so I'm sorry. Yeah, but it was nice because I could do it from home, and
Hmm.
like for that particular job, I didn't have to be like on camera, so nobody had to hear me
Yeah,
talk
you do it on your own time. Yeah.
and hear
I
Bruce over there.
I did supervising too until they just cut it off with no notice. So a lot of us were like relying on that income and they just took it away. So they don't have that anymore. But it was good at the time. All right. So let's see. In your opinion, how's the communication at Magic Gears?
Uh,
Best response ever.
so not great, not great. um, like, I mean, just for some examples, I got a message one night asking me like, hey, can you take a standby for such and such a class at this time in the morning? And of course I'm sleeping because they're sending me this message overnight. And then they sent me a message and said, well, we're just going to put it on your schedule and let us know if you can't teach it.
Yeah.
Well, I wake up and I'm I I have another class with VIP kids scheduled for this time.
Yeah.
I can't teach this class. So I sent him a message and I'm like, I can't teach this class. I have a VIP kid class at that time. And like we're like 5 minutes into the class time before they finally get back to me and they're like, oh, okay. Um, so I mean, I don't know if that has changed, but that's just one example. I mean, they were okay with responding on WeChat because I would be in the supervisor groups, but
Mhm.
like for emails or anything really critical, I not great.
No, primary communication is Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and that was
it
the
is
other
the
thing.
content of what they want put
Yeah.
out there too, not what teachers want put out there. But
Yeah, yeah. Like I remember early on, some like major announcements were made on Facebook. And I know based on what they had said about how many teachers they had versus how many teachers were in the Facebook group, most of the teachers were
I didn't
not
see
in
it.
the Facebook group.
Yeah.
So how would they see it? And
And even if you are on Facebook, you missed that one thing. You missed something critical. And now you don't know. Like they
I got an email from somebody who saw one of my videos and they're like, I didn't know that I was supposed to do this. Like, oh yeah, it was on Facebook. I'm like, I'm not on Facebook.
yeah, yep.
So
They still do that.
yeah, I totally forgot about that because I'm so far removed from that time.
Hmm.
But yeah, I remember everything. All the big stuff was on Facebook.
Yeah, still is. Still is. All right. Let's see. Did you find the Beijing staff to be professional?
Um. Uh. I
I don't
think
mean to put you on the spot. If there's anything you don't want to answer, just
I will say, um, personally, I think I got along with a lot of them very well. I think that the company is predominantly staffed by very young
yeah.
people who don't have much professional real world experience. And I think that along with the language barrier, like I know that I try to be understanding of because I
Yep.
know English is not their first language. So
Mhm.
when they're very direct, I try not to take that personally. But
Mhm.
some of the things that they would say or some of the things that they would do is just not something that I would expect from like an official
Mhm.
from a company. um and I yeah, I mean they're very young, and I don't want to say that they're immature, but they definitely lack that um like corporate attitude, which
Professionalism.
is fine. You know, they want to have like a relaxed, friendly atmosphere, but I don't want my supervisors to be my friends. I want them to be able to talk to me like, you know, professionally.
Yeah. I do feel like they tried like I feel like they were friends, like
Mhm.
I met them in Beijing, so we hung out and
That's right. You did, yeah.
yeah, but then that just only stays I kind of feel like they have favorites at Magic Ears big time. And so I was one of the favorites for a while there and it was good being on that side. And then, that switched. So
Yeah, and I don't want to say that that I was a favorite, but I feel that the fact that I had a small but I was in a minority. There were not very many Magic Ears teachers on YouTube.
uh-huh.
I really feel that that worked in my favor towards getting secondary positions and getting promoted up to senior so
Yeah,
quickly.
because you had pull. They wanted your help. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there were teachers I worked with on the supervisor team who had been with the company longer. They had more experience with the company, maybe not necessarily more teaching experience than I did, but they were kind of like they were kind of pushed aside. One of my friends just was not ranked up as quickly as they should have been, and it really felt like the only reason that I was is because I had that I was promoting them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also understand from their perspective why they would want to do it,
Uh-huh.
but why make a system of ranks if you're just not going to follow it? It's just
Well,
it
and
doesn't seem fair.
there's nothing written in stone about how this ranking system works either. So you're like, here's
Yeah.
our ranking system. We're gonna keep it a secret, and we're not gonna tell you how. You
Well,
can
very
do it.
early on, it was very specific. You have to be in this percentage of teachers. You have to have taught this many. I don't know how it is now,
Yeah, it's
but
all
when I
changed.
first started, it was, you know, you teach this many classes. You're in the top 20% for senior and then the top 5% for Magic Master. And I know that they changed it shortly
Yeah,
after I
that's how
left.
it was when I started, and you were still there, but it's changed now. There's like
Yeah.
nothing. Well, and now that the supervisor team is gone, there's no way to like overturn bad ratings, and so it's just like nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm trying to mute him every time he comes over here
you're good.
to
Don't worry about him at all. Don't even worry about it. It's not a big deal. All right. So, would you, in good conscience, recommend Magic Ears to a fellow teacher who's looking into it at this point?
this is something that I struggle with like ethically, because I feel that on my channel, I try to be very honest. I don't try to sugarcoat things. I don't try to tell people that VIP Kid is the best or Protostar is the best or Gogokid is the best or Magic Years is the best, because I mean, that's so subjective.
They all have pros and
It,
cons. Or
they do. And I really feel that there are teachers who will do well at Magic Years, but I also feel that it is my responsibility to let them know that these are the issues with the company that you need to be aware of
Mhm.
before you go in, because the pay is good. I think the pay for Magic Years is pretty good, depending on what your experience is and how long you plan on staying with them. I think the pay is okay, but there's a cost for that pay, and I feel that that cost is professionalism. It's the communication or lack thereof, and it's a really exhausting company to work for because you're under a microscope. And I know you said they've gotten rid of supervision, so I don't know what kind of system they have in place now, but I know when I
They
was
don't.
they don't
Our
have one.
social media team is instructed to still tell people that they're revamping the system. But then
Oh,
last week on a live, Frank said supervision is dead. There is, yeah, that's a quote. There is no system in place, and they are not revamping it. It's gone.
so
So
they're not, are they even
it's
reviewing the
no,
bad stuff classes?
no,
Oh,
they're just like, don't worry about it. Okay, how am I not supposed to worry about something that affects my ranking in the company and therefore my success and the like? It's not sustainable, in my opinion. But
and I really feel that that comes back to so my the reason I left was because of supervision. I was really tired of having to criticize teachers who were doing a good job, because how do you turn something that is so qualitative, like how do you turn a like somebody's teaching into something quantitative? How do you measure good teaching? And the supervisory system was not measuring good teaching. It was measuring how many seconds did you go over the time allowed? How many times did you use TPR? Did you use two props? It doesn't matter what two props you could use. You could use a dollar bill and
random,
a
yeah,
phone. As long
yeah.
as you've got two things on the screen, they don't care. Or you could have one really great prop like a whiteboard, and that's only one prop, so you lose
Mhm.
points on that.
And
Never
it's so
mind.
subjective because
Yeah.
like you could supervise a class and I could supervise a class and there could be
Yes.
something that you're like, man, that's unprofessional, that's bad. And there, me, I could just be like, I don't even care, or vice versa. And so your feedback is going to depend on who watched the class too. And it conflicted
Exactly.
a lot because
Yep.
even in the supervisor group, like I'd talk to my friends and be like, I think probably isn't okay. And they'd be like, oh, I don't ever worry about that. Or, the other way around. And it's like, well, man, there should really be, there needs to be some sort of rubric or something because it's just not, I mean, this is affecting people's lives, income, livelihood, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that was the other thing. Like some supervisors would do the same job that another supervisor would do. And I don't know how it is now that I've left, but similarly, I knew a lot of people who had like been interviewing for supervisory positions. So basically, they made them do the work
Hmm.
for hours and hours and hours. I had one friend who did dozens of classes,
Oh, to
and they
practice.
failed her on all of
Yeah.
those classes and wouldn't pay her for her like 16 hours of work.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
had a
how do
friend
you,
that got let go too while I was in supervision, and then she didn't get paid. They said it wasn't qualified feedback. Well, she'd still watch the classes. She did all the work,
yeah.
and you're going to change a couple words and not pay her for that?
Like, you're paying me to supervise the class. That's what my job is. My job is to tell you, you trust me, you gave me this position. And that
Hmm.
was the other thing. Like, why did they have supervisors if they were going to supervise the class
And
anyway? It's,
and then I jumped in supervision. I never even got any training. They're just like, "Oh, you're
yeah,
a
I didn't.
supervisor now.
I didn't.
Yeah, you go with it." And I never got anything like s- unqualified or nothing. But I've seen it happen to other people, and I was like, I just can't see that person being rude or I can't see how they would word something inappropriately, or I
Yeah.
don't understand.
Well, I think that
But
comes back to the favoritism,
yeah,
because you're a very positive face of the company, and they want to keep you happy
right.
until I don't know, you're
Until you're
just
not
you know
anymore.
until
Yeah.
until you're not valuable to them
You're
anymore.
not anymore.
Right.
Not teaching enough classes now? Okay. You're not an interviewer anymore. Or you're, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how it all
You
works.
made a post on Facebook or
There's
whatever. There's some like random firings like where people were like they had good reviews and they would just get cut, and it's like you don't like
yeah.
I've seen their classes. I know their classes were good. I know that they didn't
And
deserve to
then
be
I'd
fired.
see that person post something on Facebook and it'll be gone in like 5 seconds. Like what happened in between there? Like it was
Yeah.
there. Somebody said something, or then you'll get a public post from somebody in headquarters, like pointing fingers and saying they did XYZ, and you're like, is that really true?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I just, I'd feel so bad for them. But yeah. Okay. So which companies have you worked for in the past and or now? Like which companies have you worked for?
So besides Magic Ears, I started with VIP Kid. I am still with VIP Kid.
Mm-hmm.
I have cut my VIP Kid hours down a lot because I get paid more. I work with Gogokid. I don't teach too many Gogokid classes anymore either. And then I also work with Protostar, um, which is a 1-on-4 platform as well, but they're 40-minute
I was gonna
classes.
say they're
So
40 minutes, aren't they? But I've heard they have a lot of room for advancement there as well. Yeah.
there is some room for advancement. I know I was asked specifically to look for people who have experience with curriculum development.
Okay.
So to ask during interviews if people have any experience with that, because I think that's one of the things that they're looking to improve. Our curriculum is very good, but of course, we're expanding. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's always good to have those. And I like working with Protostar. The only drawback to that is that because it's a 40-minute block, if you're also teaching with those
You can't.
25 minutes,
Yeah.
it's really hard. And it's not like cost effective for me to work
Mm-hmm.
like a Go-Go Kid or a VIP Kid class before a Protostar class if I could just teach another Protostar class.
So you're missing out on another class because you're doing 40 minutes instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they pay by class, and I think they say that it grosses out to $33 an hour, but you never will make that. So
Oh,
I teach there because I think it's fun, not necessarily because it's the best for me.
gotcha.
Money wise. Although, as I've mentioned, I think I mentioned before we started interviewing that, hey, Bruce, thank you. That yeah, I've kind of cut back on all of my teaching because I do work. I do
Because
work.
you're working outside the home now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm a little jealous. I'm a lot jealous. I kind of. I was so excited about working from home when I started over 2 years ago, and now
Me
I'm like, I
too.
can't get out of this house, and I am so bored, and like I never talked to an adult, and
My boss told me so that I've worked for this company before, and they said, "Oh, you can work from home if you need to."
I will
No,
drive there.
no, give me an office. I need someplace to go.
Yes. Well, I used to be a flight attendant, and there's a company which flight attendant, it doesn't pay very well, but I love it. Like I love to travel, and you get your flight benefits, and I get away from my kids for a little bit. And there's a company opening up a hub in my city, so I might go back to that this summer. I can still teach, but I'm like, oh, let me out of the house for a little bit.
I kind of got to a point where like I miss talking to adults, and I
Mhm.
miss being able to sleep in. I miss being able to sleep in until 6 a.m.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's hard. It's like, man, if I don't get up, I can't work because every company on Eastern time is done by 8:30 a.m.,
Yep.
9 o'clock a.m. So, yes, I'm up. I'm up by 3:15 every day, and it's exhausting. But
Yeah.
all right. Oh, we kind of already talked about that question. That was, do you feel there's favoritism present at Magic Ears? But
Absolutely.
we already talked about that. Did you find? little bit of backstory, what happened, like, I was supervising, they cut supervision. Then I got offered interviewing, and I've been interviewing for a few months. And 3 days ago, 4 days ago, my interviews were showing up in the classroom tab, but not on
Yeah.
my actual, schedule. So I sent an email, I sent WeChat messages and whatnot saying, hey, I think something's wrong with the platform. I'm not seeing them on here, but it's showing up here. No response until Frank publicly fired me from interviewing in the WeChat group.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the last straw for me. I am done. I'm like, I'm sorry if your kids can hear that, but
Oh no, they can't. But I say all the time.
uh,
It's okay. It's not when my husband is home.
I'm like, I don't even know what I know. I think it's because I haven't been teaching as many classes. I've been back at VIP Kid because Magic Gears is really hard on my voice and it's
Yeah.
hard to teach at. And VIP Kid pays more now if they have the 60 peak time slot. Like I can't earn it. That's $4 an hour I lost, so I make more at VIP Kid. So I haven't been teaching there much. So I think they just decided, yeah, we were not going to let her have the secondary anymore because she's not teaching enough. I don't know, but either way, that's what happened.
So he just said in the group, like,
yeah, he
like,
posted, oh, Julie no-showed for 2 interviews, which I had emailed and said something's wrong with the platform. I sent screenshots. I have proof. And they not only like did that, they also charged me for it. And then after I got fired and everybody saw that, before he even told me, by the way, I've been charged for 2 more no-show interviews after I was fired.
after you were fired.
Yeah, and they're not giving me the money back. This is day 3.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, guys, I have closed all my slots because I'm not working for free. My account's going backwards. You're charging me for interviews I'm missing after you fired me from interviewing. Like that doesn't make any sense. So anyway, none of this is going to be posted on YouTube until after I receive my final check.
I can understand that. Yeah, I waited until after I got paid.
Yeah.
Before I said
especially because I have a lot of referral money on there right now and stuff, and so I don't want to I don't put anything past them anymore. But that's like the backstory. So that's what happened, and so I kind of want to get like the truth out there because there's nothing on social media about the truth of Magic Gears. It's all unicorns and rainbows. So, but respectfully. So I just have a few questions, but
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Are you ready?
I want to think that I'm far enough removed from my very public exit that like I'm like the emotions have kind of died down and I could talk about it like professionally, but now I'm just really livid for you.
Yeah, I first of all, right after it happened, I finished classes. I made a video in case I decided to quit because I'm very emotional in that video. And I thought if I do, like everyone's going to know my side of it because you want to publicly fire me. I'm going to get my side out there and let them know. Like, I mean, whether it's up to people whether they believe me or not, but I recorded it. I haven't posted it. But after I get paid, I'm going to do like this series and do, the public that peace out Magic Gears.